Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Criterion Corner. I've been enjoying making these videos quite a bit. I've had a lot of interaction on these movies, and it's been so much fun to discuss films in the Criterion Collection and kind of hear people's feedback about the movies that they love. And today I'm going to be talking about a film that was released in 2019, which was a phenomenal year for movies. And Criterion has picked up a lot of movies from that year, as they rightly should. There was a lot of great cinema that was released the year before the pandemic started. I'm looking forward to seeing what other films around this time that Criterion will eventually pick up, because there's so many good movies coming out. I've been really impressed over the past few years as to how many wonderful works of cinema that we have gotten. And the movie I'm going to be talking about today impacted me a lot, and I was lucky enough to actually see this film in a theater prior to its release on streaming services, because this went on Netflix, similarly to The Irishman, which I talked about recently. And the film I'm going to be talking about is Noah Baumbach's Marriage Story. Marriage Story is directed by Noah Baumbach. A stage director and an actress struggle through a grueling coast-to-coast divorce that pushes them to their personal extremes. This film is incredible, and it was a movie that moved me quite a bit when I saw it in the theaters. And it's a movie that will continue to move me every time I've seen it, because it really is a film that looks at divorce through such a realistic and impactful lens, where the film opens, and it's one of my favorite sequences in a film that I can remember to date, where you have our lead characters, played by Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson, reading these long notes that they've written for one another about how much they love each other and why they fell in love with one another and the reasons why they care about each other. And it's just such a beautiful sequence, and it opens the film in such an amazing way. And they have this young son together. They both work as performance artists, and Adam Driver is a director and Scarlett Johansson is a performer. You're kind of given the dynamic of their relationship, and very early on in the film, you start to see where their heads butt and why they're having issues. Adam Driver really wants to stay in New York City because he works on productions there, he works on Broadway, he's doing stage performances, and Scarlett Johansson wants to move to LA and wants to work out there because she's an actress and she wants to try to get roles there. And so they start to have issues until finally she decides that she's going to just pack up and move there. And that's when the divorce starts. And what's really interesting about this movie is when the divorce things start and they start having conversations with one another about it, it's very cordial, and it's very like neither one of them wants to make it nasty, neither one of them wants to make things more difficult for the other one. But once they start getting attorneys involved, where you have Scarlett Johansson gets Laura Dern, who gives a phenomenal performance in this film. Adam Driver starts out with Alda and ends up getting Ray Liotta as his attorney. They start to kind of play a role into their lives where they force the other one to be manipulative, and they pull low blows for custody battles. It's heartbreaking to watch, because you see these two people that at one point in their lives really genuinely did care and love each other to the full extent that people can love one another. And because of the way life works and because of the way circumstances happen, that it just didn't work. Their marriage didn't play out in the way that they thought that it was going to. And it's hard to watch. There are a lot of scenes in this film that really gutted me and that were really tough to see. I'm someone who watched my parents go through a really grueling and awful divorce, where there was a lot of gaslighting and manipulation and back and forth things between the two of them that caused them to not only hurt each other, but hurt me and my siblings. And obviously the repercussions of that have carried on over the years. And so watching this movie was kind of tough for me, because I've lived it. I watched it happen. In this circumstance, you have these two people who genuinely seem to care very deeply for one another and that would do a lot for each other, and watching their relationship sort of disintegrate as this goes on, and getting it from both characters' perspectives. I mean, Adam Driver gives a career best performance in this movie. It's one of my favorites that he's ever given, next to probably the Jim Jarmusch Patterson film, which I also think he's brilliant in. I think he's one of the best actors working today, and he continues to impress me whenever he does this caliber of a film. Scarlett Johansson is always great. I know people give her shit a lot of times, but I think that she's a really great actress. I've always enjoyed her over the years. Both of these people have taken on Disney projects now, which is kind of funny to think about, that They went from Disney stuff to doing smaller scale indie films with Noah Baumbach again. But I really love this movie, and I love the direction from Noah Baumbach. I think he's a genius. I've really loved his work over the years. The Squid and the Whale is an absolute must-see film. It's so brilliantly done. He gets the best out of his performers, and he's very much a stickler for, you're going to read my script and you're going to do it the exact way I wrote it. It works. In this movie, too, it works so well. The third act of this movie, you are just so gripped to this story, and it's really hard to watch. The last scene in this film is one of my favorites in movie history, and it's one that's never left my mind. And it's just such a beautiful and realistic look at what it's like for parents to go through divorce, and what it looks like for the child who is a part of this and who has to go through this situation and see two people who they thought loved each other so much fight each other to the death almost for custody and to see each other. And it's a difficult movie, but it's also a really great film, and one that I 100% believe deserves to be in the Criterion collection. I think that Criterion did an amazing job with this restoration. There's so many cool little inserts and stuff in this Blu-ray, but I would check it out if you haven't seen it yet. Have you seen Marriage Story? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I think this movie is brilliant. It's one of my favorite films of all time, and I look forward to watching it again soon. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new videos and looking forward to getting more out for you in the near future. As always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.